and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
You alright?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
I'm alright, yeah, I don't know why I'm pointing at you. Just like that, because you weren't looking at me, so I thought I'd point.
Shock me.
It's been a busy week this week, Anthony, and I feel like it's because I've spent most of it trying to keep up to date with the release date for Venom, because it seems to change every 15 minutes. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing with it. I thought what we should do this week is we'll have like Venom checks throughout the episode. So at the moment, what are we, like 2 minutes in? Yeah. So at the moment, it's still the 1st of October. Okay. I think, hang on, is it the 1st of October? It is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was the 15th and now it's the 1st. I don't know what they're playing at, but we'll talk about it a bit more in the news. So on this week's show, we'll be breaking down all the latest comic book movie news, including some Spider-Man No Way Home reveals, the Venom date change again, as we said, and finally the first trailer for The Matrix Resurrections. We'll then be giving you our full breakdown and review of What If Episode 5 before discussing your thoughts and theories in this week's Pod Fans Assemble. This is also your spoiler warning. There will be spoilers and speculation throughout the episode. If you'd like to skip ahead to the What If review or to Pod Fans Assemble, we'll put timestamps in the description as always. Before we start though, Anthony, we've got a giveaway to do. We have got the giveaway to do. So on Twitter this week, we launched a giveaway for a Shang-Chi Funko keychain. We asked you to follow and retweet the tweet. I said lines closed then. The competition closed today. Lines closed at 5 p.m. today. The competition closed at 5 p.m. today. And we have at random picked a winner. Anthony, who's our winner?
So our winner is Laura Cunningham.
Well done, Laura.
Well
Thank you for sharing the tweet and for listening to the podcast. We will get in touch with you on Twitter and we'll sort out sending that to you. So, news then. First bit, we've got a bit of Aquaman news. So, director James Wan has shared a couple of images on Instagram of Jason Momoa in costume. So, one of them's in his classic costume with like the orange and green costume.
Yeah.
And then the second suit is a new blue stealth suit. And apparently it was inspired by Aquaman's blue costume in the 1980s comics. It looks good, but it's got like proper 90s style fake abs. Looks like Val Kilmer's costume. You know, like really like
Jason
tiny.
Doesn't even need anything like that, does he?
No, and he's got these like really tiny little but really pointy outy abs that just look absolutely ridiculous. It looks like something from Batman Forever.
Oh.
I don't get it. I also don't quite understand why he needs a stealth suit.
No.
Bit OTT. It looks good though. It looks apart from the abs, it's something a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we've seen the same costume for like 3 movies now, so got to change it up. Got to sell toys.
Exactly.
Got to sell some toys. Spider-Man No Way Home news then. So we got a couple of bits of Spider-Man news. So firstly, we were talking a couple of weeks ago, or last week even, about Charlie Cox potentially being in the No Way Home trailer. He's not. It's now been confirmed, even though we said he wasn't. He's not. Have you seen this? Have you seen the pictures?
I've not seen the pictures, but I've seen the story where he's come out and said 100% it's not him.
Oh no, but it's been confirmed now. So because Shang-Chi came out in IMAX in the US, the Spider-Man trailer was attached to it, and it's obviously a bigger screen and a bigger.
So you saw a bit of chin.
You saw a bit of chin, basically, Couldn't have summed that up any better. Yeah, you did. So we now know it's not
Cox's chin.
It didn't look like Charlie Cox's chin, no. Do we still think he's going to be in it though?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Will you be disappointed if he's not?
Or do you
think it's going to be a busy enough movie anyway?
If I'm totally honest, I've never watched Daredevil, so it probably wouldn't make a difference to me. No,
it was good. I watched the first series; it was quite good. Hopefully, he's going to be in it, but again, I don't think we'll miss it if he's not, because it's going to be such a busy movie, particularly if we're getting all these villains and we're getting Toby and
It's just
Andrew.
going to be a bit of a, that's nice. And then we'll just move on because everyone's so excited about Doc Ock and Green Goblin. Hobgoblin. No. Who is he? Green Goblin.
You were right the first time, yeah.
Jesus.
Do you know what? You've got a good point there, though, because if he is in it, it's going to be really... It's just
going to be overshadowed.
Yeah, massively, yeah. So maybe it's right just to not put him in this one and maybe just drop him into She-Hulk, because it's not going to really have the massive impact, is it, if Toby and Andrew and all these other villains are back. So, talking about Andrew Garfield in No Way Home, he is still denying that he's in the movie. Still, even though we've seen pictures and a 4K video now of him in the movie. But he did do an interview this week with Variety, and he says he understands why the fans are excited, but on the record, it's not something I'm aware I'm involved in. What a weird way of saying I'm not in it.
To be fair, though, that's what Tom Holland could have said on every Avengers set.
I'm not aware. I'm not aware that it was in it. He's going to be so surprised when he sees that video. He's going to be like, I didn't know I was in that. I thought it was in the Spider-Man costume for something else completely random.
I thought it was a kid's birthday party.
He probably thought he was in The Flash. The amount of other heroes who were in that not comic book movie. Shang-Chi then. So we saw Shang-Chi last week. It was amazing. We released our bonus episode of it, of the podcast, so go back and listen to that if you've not already. It's absolutely smashing it at the box office, breaking records.
I watched it twice.
You've seen it twice. I've only seen it once so far.
Yeah.
Despite some people...
It was more than triple now of the highest Labor Day one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Do you just want to do the news, Anthony?
I'm impressed that I knew that.
Thank you. I'm dead impressed, yeah. So the previous Labor Day record was held by 2007's Halloween. I think Rob Zombie did it, and it was 30.5 million, and this did 95 million domestically. So
the last time I looked, it was
times.
like 88.
It's just going up and up and up, and it's done 150 million worldwide. Proper deserves it though. It was so good. The movie,
brilliant film.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch it again. Venom 2.
It's so good the second time, by the way.
Is it?
Just so you know. Yeah, because you start picking up on the things that you missed the first time round because you don't know what's about to happen. When you kind of know what's coming, you kind of have those extra few seconds. You can glance around the screen that little bit more, look out for other bits and pieces. And it's just, you just take a lot more in than you did the first time round.
Anything big or like Easter eggy that you didn't notice the first time?
No, but have you met me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty oblivious.
Yeah.
So no. But I did laugh just as hard this time round as I did the first time.
Did you? I need to go back and watch it. So Venom 2, well, we've already mentioned it. So with Shang-Chi being so successful over the weekend, Sony have decided now to bring Venom forward 2 weeks to October 1st. Hang on, let's just double check. Yeah, it's still October 1st at the moment. It might be different by the end of the podcast. So it's the same week as No Time to Die in the UK.
Oh yeah.
So how that's going to fare against that in the UK? No Time to Die is not out until the following week in the US. So we get it a week earlier. But I'm not convinced that's a great move, especially for the UK. Maybe in the US they'll get away with it, but in the UK going up against James Bond, I just think it's going to get swamped.
It's a tough challenge, isn't it?
We'll
see. Do you know, I'm more excited about the villain in James Bond than I am about James Bond.
Because it's Rami Malek?
Yeah. I just think he's brilliant. He's not been disappointing in anything he's ever been in.
No, he's a good actor, isn't he? Doctor Strange news. According to One Take News and Scooper Daniel RPK, Doctor Strange Supreme will appear in Multiverse of Madness. Couldn't remember what it was called then. I've just got MOM. Multiverse of Madness. Is that a surprise?
You know, all I can ever think of, by the way, is the Ministry of Mayhem.
That's exactly what I nearly said. I nearly said Ministry of Mayhem. All the US listeners are like, I don't know what you're talking about, and Holly Willoughby. Doctor Strange and the Ministry of Mayhem. Yeah. That's another one. That's a what if episode. I don't think that's a surprise. I feel like I'll be more surprised if he's not in it. Doctor Strange Supreme. Surely we'll talk about what if in a bit more detail in a bit, but surely that's what this is doing. It's setting up, letting us get to know characters before we meet them in Ministry of Mayhem, Multiverse of Madness. But I think I'd be more surprised. It's good. It's good if it is confirmed, but I'd have been more surprised if he wasn't. The Russos then, apparently they've had a bit of a fallout with Marvel. They're not talking.
Well, this is off the back of Black Widow, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And they're basically saying that because of what's the best word to describe it? There's a bit of animosity at the end of the day, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Because of the animosity and the uncertainty of how they will be paid, they're saying that they're not sure if they'll come back without knowing for definite what they expect to gain from it,
and how it's going to be distributed as well.
It's understandable. At the end of the day, you've got a talent and you're being paid to kind of put that out there.
Yeah.
You should be respected in that, right?
It surprises me though that because again, like Warner Brothers, as we said, when the pandemic happened, Warner Brothers changed all the contracts up straight away. So now they know how it's going to be set out and how it's going to be released, and I assume how much money they're going to be paid or what cut of what they're going to get the money from. So I'm surprised that Disney still haven't sort of figured this one out. They're still sort of like playing it by ear and seeing how it goes.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's not good. It's weird, isn't it? What do you think, though? Do you think it's I mean, I know they're great directors and they did some amazing movies, particularly Endgame and Infinity War, but do you think we want them back so soon, or do we want a bit of a break and get some new talent in?
I mean, there was no time scale on what they were talking about anyway, to be fair.
No, it could have been years away.
They've expressed a very keen interest on doing the Secret Wars storyline.
Yeah.
And if knowing what they can produce, if it's something that you can see that they're already excited over and passionate over, I can see it being amazing.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, if you have 3 jobs and one of them you particularly love, you always perform better in that one because you love it so much.
Yeah.
So if they have a storyline that they're really going to enjoy doing, they're going to tell that story well because they're going to want to do it justice because they love it so much. So for me, I'd love to see them come back because I know that they could do brilliant things. But at the same time, there's up-and-coming people all the time that we've never heard of.
Yeah.
For example, Kate in for Loki. She's not somebody that I'd heard of before, Kate Herron.
No.
And absolutely smashed that whole storyline.
Definitely,
I loved the way she brought it to life.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'd be gutted if we didn't see another Russo brothers Marvel film. But at the same time, we don't know what's around the corner. And we could have somebody who's 10 times better.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, maybe just bring them back for like the specific, rather than just sort of like getting them to do whatever story Marvel want them to do. Wait for them to come to Marvel with like a proper project that they're interested in, they really want to do, and then sort of like fit the MCU around that to a degree, so that they're really sort of sold on it themselves. Yeah. Well, we'll see. These things have always got a way of working themselves out in the end, haven't they? Yeah. So I would imagine it's probably only going to be a matter of time before it does. Going off Marvel and DC then. Transformers Rise of the Beasts. We mentioned this a few months ago that this was another Transformers film. What is it, like Transformers 23 or something like that? There's been lots of them. So it's currently filming in Brooklyn, and we got our first look at Optimus Prime's vehicle mode this week. He looks exactly
So we got our first look at a truck.
Yeah, but it's the proper truck. It's the old school.
Just the way you said it.
It's red and blue. It's a red and blue truck, but it's like proper old school, like Generation 1 like toys. It looks obviously like not identical, but pretty similar. Yeah. So I'm quite glad that they're going down that route and going a bit more, close to the original product, basically. Yeah. I thought Michael Bay wasn't involved in this at all, but apparently he still is. He's still producing these things, but he's only a producer. So he's not directing on set with like loads of random explosions and just like random women with bikinis, which is pretty much the rest of the Transformers film and every other Michael Bay film I've ever seen, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad they've gone down a more faithful route. I think they did in Bumblebee, didn't they?
I really liked Bumblebee, to be fair.
I've not seen it all the way through, but I've seen the opening that was all set on Cybertron, and I know that it all looked like
that was
proper, like legit, like it should look. Yeah. So I think they've obviously seen the reaction to that and thought, let's run with that basically, and go with what the people want. Yeah. Maybe studios are learning rather than just sort of what'll sell toys.
We can only hope, can't we?
Exactly. Wouldn't that be nice if studios actually listened to the directors and the fans and put stuff out that they wanted? Last bit of news then before we go into the Matrix Resurrections trailer. The Pokemon movie. We talked about this. No, we didn't. We talked about the Pokemon TV series. I'm getting lost. Pokemon TV series, the live action Pokemon TV series. Spoilers, we're having a movie as well. We're getting another live action Pokemon movie.
Is it going to be a new movie though? They're not remaking the Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Well, they've already done that. They did a CG version of it.
Yeah, I know. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. My son loves it. He's like obsessed with Pokemon at the moment.
It still breaks my heart every time.
What, when Ash?
Turns
spoilers. When Ash, he doesn't die, does he?
No,
Pikachu's tears and all the Pokemon cry.
Yeah.
And bring him back to life.
It's a really weird scene, to be fair.
It is weird.
But I was upset when Pikachu was upset. No one upsets Pikachu.
I was upset because Pikachu was upset.
I remember going to see it for the first time in the cinema in 1999. I was 9 years old.
How do you know what year it was?
I might be wrong.
You sounded so certain that it was 1999.
I was trying to play it off and then you said that and I was
it might not be.
But it was around then. So I was like 9, 10.
It was the 90s.
Yeah.
It was the 90s. Well, we're getting another TV. We're getting another... I keep getting it wrong.
Is it the originals? Is it Ash, Misty and Brock?
I don't know. So this report's come from the Illuminati and they've basically said that it's going to be coming out on Netflix alongside the TV series. It's not going to be a continuation of Detective Pikachu. That story's sort of done now, I think. They're just going to reboot it. And
I quite enjoyed Detective Pikachu, I've got to say.
I enjoyed it, but there was just something about it I didn't like.
I just wish there was more Pokemon.
Yeah, it's
like there was no real battles or anything.
Same as Transformers. That's the bit. That was the issue that the Transformers films had, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films. There was no. It was about the human characters, and they were just sort of the turtles and the Transformers were there in the background, and the story centered around them, but it wasn't about them. Yeah. And you had the same thing to a degree in Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're going to realise, as we've just said, that people want to see like the live action Pokemon battles and stuff, and we'll go down.
You could do them battles so well with live action and CGI. Like, that could be amazing.
Do you feel like they'd have to go down a bit more of a grown up theme though, rather than it being aimed at like 8-year-olds?
Probably. You'd probably be doing what most people are doing now, where they're aiming stuff that was from your childhood at you now as an adult.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the way to do it.
But don't do it like Powerpuff Girls.
No, don't do it. That took it too far, so that's clearly not happening. We're not talking about Powerpuff Girls for a while. That's all just completely gone down the toilet, really, hasn't it?
Anything about it since
nothing good anyway.
3 dropped out.
But yeah, so with Pokemon, I feel like they should probably go down similar to like, because we were talking about before, like Shrek. You know, like there's stuff there that's like proper for the adults, but it's could, but you know, kids would enjoy it as well.
Yeah,
it needs to go down that route. To be fair, similar sort of tone to Detective Pikachu, just not as focused on the humans really. But yeah, I think if it's done right, it'll be really good. But then at the same time, it could come out an absolute mess. Yeah. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed they do it right.
I will be watching it.
Yeah, even if it's crap, we'll still watch it. We'll still review it. Yeah, we can do a bad TV series review of Pokemon. Maybe we'll see how it comes out. Right, let's talk about the Matrix trailer. I'm going to try and say it again. Matrix Resurrections trailer. There we go. I did it. We both watched it. Anthony's seen it. Anthony hasn't seen the first Matrix movies, or haven't seen them for a long time.
I saw the first one. I just didn't have a frigging clue what happened.
Did you see it in 1999 when you were 9? Yeah. I think it came out in like 2000, didn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm so glad it's finally here, because I feel like we've heard about this movie for ages, and we've not really seen much or heard much. And I feel like even though it doesn't really give too much away, and you said when you sat down, you watched the trailer, and you've not got a clue what's going on. I've watched the trailer like 6 times, and I've seen the Matrix movies, and I don't know what's going on.
I looked at it and thought, is this just John Wick getting high? A few people have said he looks like John Wick, and obviously he does because he's Keanu Reeves, and that's just Keanu's look. I think it's just because, well, obviously Matrix Keanu was short hair and all that kind of stuff, and I know some of that's kind of down to the time and stuff like that as well. However, he's got the exact same hair that he had in John Wick, and same amount of facial hair. Like, it's just like he's walked out of one set and gone next door straight into the next one.
Keanu's looked like that since like 2010, hasn't he?
Didn't he at least shave his face for Bill and Ted?
He did, actually, yeah.
Well, there you go.
He did.
See, just little things like that.
Yeah, but he looks better with the beard.
He does look better with the beard, to be fair.
He looks better with the beard.
I still haven't seen that Bill and Ted either.
Oh, you're not missing anything.
Okay.
I love Bill and Ted, and you're not missing anything.
Oh, okay.
It's not good at all. Should we break down the trailer a little bit then? So, sort of the bits that jumped out at me. Neil Patrick Harris.
I did notice that, and I was like, okay, cool. Good.
There's got to be. So I think this is the trailer that was released at CinemaCon, because I know we've covered a couple of these points before. But Neil Patrick Harris is his therapist. There's got to be more to that role. He can't just be in it for 5 minutes at the start of the movie.
I would say, and I'm just putting it out there, he could be potentially like the next Lawrence Fishburne, and he's like just disguised as his therapist.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. So what we think from the trailer that he's potentially going to be part of the Matrix or a bad guy, but he could end up be sort of like assessing him to see if he's ready to come out again. Yeah, Anthony, that's quite clever. I like that.
And I've never even seen it.
You've never even seen it. We could be completely wrong, and to be honest, you're probably completely wrong. But yeah, maybe.
I'm always completely wrong. But
but that's why it's fun. Yeah. That's why it's fun. We see the first new meeting of Neo and Trinity in like a bank or something like that.
I don't remember Trinity at all. So.
You don't remember Trinity from the Matrix movies? Why are we covering the Matrix trailer? I'll just talk about it then.
Okay.
So we see Neo and Trinity. So Trinity's his girlfriend.
Okay.
Who dies in the third Matrix.
Orcs.
Spoilers.
She looked good for being dead.
She does look pretty good for a dead person, yeah. Considering look at the state of the people in the What If Zombies, they all look like shit. Know, right? So she looks pretty good compared to them. You can tell he knows something's wrong from the trailer, because you can there's clips of like everyone in a lift and everyone's like addicted to the phones, and he's like the only person who's not on it.
Yeah.
And the birds all like moving around weirdly in the sky, so he's obviously picking up the things aren't going right.
Yeah.
We also see Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who is apparently Morpheus, the young version of Morpheus. So there's been a lot of talk and rumours that he is playing a version of Morpheus, and today when the trailer's released, he's put on his Instagram a picture of that image of him walking down the hall with the two Uzis pointing side to side, and he's just written Morpheus underneath. So I don't know how they're going to work that in. I also don't know why they didn't ask Lawrence Fishburne to come back. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Maybe there were some creative differences last time.
I feel like we've brought... Apparently he wasn't asked back. Just wasn't even asked.
Yeah, but I mean on the last film...
Maybe.
Did it end with some animosity or something, or...
Don't know. It is weird that they've not asked him back.
It is weird.
This is like experience of watching Marvel movies. I feel like maybe they're trying to sort of like double bluff us, because it would have been a lot more interesting if it was Morpheus, just to not let us know it's Morpheus until the movie and have us guessing that it probably is Morpheus until then. The fact that they've just sort of kind of revealed that he's Morpheus at this stage makes me doubt he's Morpheus, and makes me wonder whether the new Matrix is trying to trick Neo by recreating somebody
and that's why it doesn't quite look right.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, potentially. We see his powers as well. So same sort of powers as in the last one. So that scene in the dojo when he's fighting potentially Morpheus, and he sort of like blows up the whole dojo. Again, that's like a callback to the first movie, because he does the training in there when he learns kung fu. He's still got the power to stop bullets, but then in this one he can fling missiles around as well, because the helicopter shoots a missile at them, doesn't it? It looks good, but I'm slightly concerned that it's just going to be like a bit of a CGI fest. And just like loads of really cool shots and loads of good martial arts, but the story behind it's going to be a bit
basic.
Yeah, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, it was the story in Suicide Squad, as we said, wasn't massively detailed. The story around Shang-Chi, we said, wasn't massively detailed, but in both of those movies we really got to know those characters. And I feel like maybe in this we already kind of know. I mean, you don't, because you've not really seen them, but we already really know the characters, so I feel like it's gonna need a solid story behind this one, so I'm just hoping it does. Warner Brothers also, after they released the trailer today, released a new synopsis for the movie, and it's quite interesting, and I suppose you could sort of read it in a couple of ways, but it says, The Matrix Resurrections is a continuation of the story established in the first Matrix film. 20 years after the first film, the franchise that helped define pop culture at the turn of the century is back for a continuation and extension of the original movie.
So it's like really pushing that it's got nothing to do with number 2 and 3.
I read that we're sort of, because 2 and 3 were pants. They were not good at all.
Okay.
Number 1, I think, is a fantastic movie, and they just completely destroyed the franchise with 2 and 3. Because again, it was like, the first one had like a real indie feel to it, and I know it was full of CG and it was like really sort of like state of the art effects and practical effects and CG that they used for it, but it still had like a really indie vibe to it. And I feel like it was a surprise hit, and the studio weren't expecting it to be that big. And then what they did was they took it and thought, wow, that sold a lot of tickets. Let's just throw money at it. It doesn't matter what the story is. People like the CG. People like the fight scenes. So let's just give them 4 hours of computer game trailer, which was pretty much what it was, and the story was crap. So I feel like if we can get rid of those, then I'm not complaining. But it's like, I suppose movies they've tried that with, how many times have they like retconned Terminator? And it's never really worked. Because I feel like people have got such a bad taste in their mouth from the bad Terminator movies that they're not really buying into it. So I'm hoping the hype around this, and the fact that it's been 20 years, I think 2003 was when they released 2 and 3 within like 6 months of each other. I'm hoping it's been so long and the hype's there that it doesn't sort of, I don't think it'll bomb at the box office, but hopefully it's decent. It's going to be decent. I wonder though whether if they're going down that route, they need to make it a lot more obvious that that's what they're doing. And that we're sacking off 2 and 3 and don't worry about that. We're doing a proper sequel, really. We had a couple of listeners get in touch as well with what they thought of the trailer. So We Need a Roads podcast said, meh, so it's Matrix Awakens but without Weaving or Fishburne. Why are they back in the Matrix? Would have much preferred a new character waking up and Neo coming in later as this legendary figure. But
I can see that.
Keanu Reeves is what sells the tickets, isn't it? That's what you need. But yeah, it is going to be weird without having Hugo Weaving and Fishburne back. Creative Control said, a great teaser. I don't want to see any more of this until I watch the film on an IMAX screen though.
Understandable.
Again, it did just tease it, didn't it? It didn't really give massive amounts away with the story of where it's going. I agree. I think the less we know, potentially. The
I came away just going, it's Keanu Reeves film.
It is. It's kind of looks like John Wick, but he's got superpowers.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Rachel Miller said, I'm quite excited. I love the first. Haven't watched much though, but I still like the whole idea, so find it intriguing still. I'll go along with an open mind and I'm sure I'll be entertained. It's going to be entertaining, even if the story is crap. I agree. And then Peacemaker said, this is going to be my first time seeing Keanu on my screen again in years because I've only seen his Matrix outings. It looks to be an 8 out of 10. Only problem is I have to pick between this or The Kingsman to see opening day. Oh, same day as The Kingsman.
Oh,
didn't know that. I think The Matrix would do it though, wouldn't it?
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because I don't think the marketing around The Kingsman's been fantastic. And again, it's been so delayed.
Yeah.
Whereas The Matrix was supposed to come out, I believe, this year. So I think Kingsman would struggle up against it. So it's coming out on December 22nd.
Okay.
So again, a couple of days before Christmas, week after No Way Home. Yeah. So yeah, should be good. Again, though, if Spider-Man's as big as we all think it's going to be, probably going to be number one at the box office for a while. So
yeah,
we'll see. Should we talk about What If then?
Let's do it.
So we're going to get straight into spoilers then with this week's episode of What If, which is just titled What If Zombies. Clearly Disney listened to our episode last week where we took the piss out of the extremely long and ridiculous titles, and they've just thought, right, we'll screw you guys, we'll just call it What If Zombies then.
Yeah.
No, they probably didn't listen to us. Maybe they did. I don't know. Is it weird? It just felt a bit weird, it just being called What If Zombies, but at the same time, I don't think they needed to say anything else.
No.
They didn't need to explain anything else.
It was
at
good
all.
enough as
It was just, we know what it is. That's absolutely fine. We don't need any more detail. I thought it was another good episode. It was weird because somehow it wasn't as dark as last week's episode, despite it being about zombies and basically everyone died. It didn't feel as...
I just really enjoyed it.
I just thought it was just fun.
Yeah.
It was just a fun episode all the way through. It didn't really have a massive story to it.
No.
It was just a laugh.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did have like a million questions. The main one being, how do they still know how to use all of these things?
Yeah, I agree.
Iron Man. How did zombie Iron Man know how to use his...
Do you know what the biggest one for me was? Is that the technical term for the repulsor?
I thought that was a good impression.
Isn't it blam? Like Happy says blam, blam, blam.
That was so funny.
Even when he was a zombie, he's like blam, blam.
I'm sorry, buddy. Blam.
Jon Favreau is amazing.
Anyway.
I thought that's a really good point, and I thought the same. But the one that got me more was, obviously Tony being able to use all the repulsor blasts and stuff like that was weird, but Hawkeye still being completely professional at bow and arrow, just like perfect marksman, and Strange and Wong being able to do all the magic. That was the one.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
That was the one that got me. I was just like, how on earth are they doing this? When everybody else, every other zombie is just like completely brain dead, normal zombie, but all the Avengers for some reason. And I'd get it with some of them. Maybe you could explain it away with like Wong and Strange or Cap.
Yeah.
Because they're
the
sort
strength
of...
and that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
because you've got to have the mental strength, obviously, to be a sorcerer, I would imagine. And obviously Cap's superhuman. But at the end of the day, Tony's just a human. He's an extremely intelligent human, but he's still just human at the end of the day.
The other thing was, with him particularly, it's not how his body works. It was machinery that is wrapped in, basically.
Yeah, so it's not like a power he's got that he's retained.
It's flicking buttons and pressing switches or however it works.
Exactly, yeah.
So I was a bit like...
So it didn't make complete sense. It gave me like proper Zombieland vibes. A Zombieland, but also road trip.
Especially with the characters that they chose.
I love that.
You know, you think the best of the ones that survive, and then you've got Happy.
Yeah.
You've got the head of Ant-Man, which was just hilarious.
He was amazing. We'll talk about characters
so
in a bit.
Funny.
So good.
And then you've got what's his name again? It's gone out my head.
Kurt.
Yeah. Who was amazing.
He did not get enough screen time in Ant-Man because he was so good in this. I mean, he's done loads, hasn't he, David Dastmalchian recently, but he was so good in this one.
He was hilarious
as Kurt.
I liked from the start that it was the moment that Bruce was falling to Earth.
Yes.
So the whole Thanos thing, I just thought, okay, how have we got to the zombie place here?
Yeah.
And then to find out that it came from the quantum realm.
Yeah, so that was the Nexus event, because a lot of people were trying to guess like when it was what was obviously gonna cause it in the first place. I think a lot of people felt it was gonna be like Ultron, something to do with Sokovia.
Yeah.
But also like when it was gonna be set. But I think it was clever the way they did it, because they've only got like 28 minutes or half an hour, however long the episodes are. So they didn't really have time to go through how the apocalypse happened, and I don't think they needed to. No. Similar with like Walking Dead, they didn't show us how it happened. They dropped us in the middle of it. And the fact that Hulk's been gone for 2 years and he's dropped in it it's sort of like we're coming alongside Hulk, we're coming into it fresh, and it's all happened, so we've got a character who's stepping into it at the same time. So I think it was quite clever the way that they did that, to sort of just introduce it to us at the same time, really. That opening scene though, I know we already saw a clip of it like 2 days ago that got released on Twitter and on YouTube, but there's so much more to it, particularly the cape.
Yeah, the cape was brilliant.
He's done more than anybody in like 2 episodes. He's been like the MVP of the last 2 episodes. Yeah. Him fighting Wong and Strange and Tony and stuff like that. So good. And obviously saving Hulk as well. So we mentioned the Nexus event. So the fact that it was just a zombie virus,
a virus within the quantum realm.
Yeah. You feel that was a bit of a cop-out?
I mean, you were probably going to get it was some sort of virus or something that went wrong. Like, you're going to get that wherever. And I don't think it's a cop-out necessarily, because that's the way it tends to happen. I just think...
when all these zombie viruses happen all the time?
Do you not remember the last one, 2006?
I feel like I've just been through one.
But, no, like, I mean, the only other way that I thought it might have happened would have been when, like with Wanda and Pietro, when they were testing the stone, whether that would have caused something like that. That's the only other logical way when looking at it as a nexus point that I could think it would fit in. Yeah. So, I mean, I never thought of the quantum realm, and I thought that was quite a clever, different way to bring it in, because, in fact, if she'd have not returned, wouldn't have made a difference.
No, that's the thing.
But the fact that she came back with Hank,
and she picked it up.
That's, yeah.
And again, I think it was maybe an overly simple way of doing it, because it didn't really explain much. It was just, I think,
if you made it more complicated, you'd have to explain it more.
That's the thing, yeah. And with it only being 28-minute episodes or whatever, it needed to be something quick. We got the whole thing wrapped up within the first couple of minutes, that this is what it is. This is the state of the world now. Yeah. And then we got the little intro to Marvel Zombie World,
which was Peter. Brilliant, by the way.
It was so clever the way they did that. The orientation video. I mean, it's been 2 weeks at this stage. The Watcher says 2 weeks ago, Janet came back with the virus. So this has only been a fortnight. Yeah. So Peter at this point has lost Aunt May and Tony. He seems relatively upbeat.
I know, yeah.
Sort of thing. He seemed like relatively happy doing that video. It's just like, oh, cool, we're in a zombie apocalypse, guys. And it's like, your aunt's just died.
But that's the joke about Spider-Man, though, isn't it? Because he's always like...
To be fair, that's what they said. Hope says it to him, doesn't she? She says, like, how do you stay so upbeat? And he says, with all the losses that he's had, he's got to. And when he's saying that, I mean, we'll go through characters in a bit more in a sec, but when he's saying that, he says, my mum and dad, my Aunt May, and my Uncle Ben. And that's the first time in the MCU we've had Uncle Ben mentioned, yeah. He's been, like, hinted to in the first Spider-Man.
When he was talking to Ned, and he said after everything Aunt May's been through.
Yeah. So he's been hinted at before, but this is the first time we've actually had him name dropped. Yeah. I think maybe we'll explore it a little bit more in, like, No Way Home.
Do you reckon he'll end up in a universe where Uncle Ben's still alive?
Well, there were I don't know whether there were rumours. People wanted Toby to be Uncle Ben. And there's
he's not old enough.
Yeah, but Marissa Tomei's not that old. I mean, I don't think they're going to show him in the movie, but I wonder, like, whether you'd see Peter... or Tom Holland's Peter, because I'm going to get confusing now because there's going to be so many Peters in Spider-Verse in No Way Home. But maybe when Toby comes through, you'll get, like, a look from Tom Holland's Peter of, I recognise you, or just, like, him being weird with him, and then you might find out later on at some point, or see a photo of, like, an aged up Tobey Maguire in the apartment or something, and you'll find out that was Uncle Ben. I think it'd be a good way, a nice little nod. Yeah. But we didn't really need to explore Uncle Ben too much because we've already seen it. But it was nice that we got a name drop.
Yeah.
It wasn't Tom Holland, obviously.
No.
Who was voicing Spidey.
Which was a shame.
It was a guy called...
Because I think pretty much everyone else was...
I think everybody else in this episode was the original voice actors.
Yeah.
But in this one, it was a guy called Hudson Thames who did the voice. It was really rumoured, heavily rumoured, for a couple of days before it came out that it was going to be Josh Keaton who did the voice of Steve in Captain Carter, because he's voiced Spider-Man before in some of the cartoons.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was Hudson Thames. He did a really good job. He really sounded like Tom Holland.
He did.
Which again, Josh Keaton really sounded like Chris Evans in the first episode, but I think he pulled it off.
Yeah.
Really, really well. There were moments in it where it just sounded exactly like it.
Yeah.
And even if it didn't sound exactly like him for other parts, it was just the sort of tone, like the really upbeat. As much as we just said, maybe it didn't suit the moment because everyone died, but it just had that really innocent, naive, upbeat sort of sound of how Tom Holland plays it. So it was good. So the other characters then, I mean, there's quite a few to go through. I've already mentioned them. So Kurt, David Dastmalchian, amazing, so funny. He just nailed all the lines. Sebastian Stan as Bucky.
I enjoyed him more this time.
I did. He was good after the slate I gave him.
I don't know
for
whether
the
it
first
was
episode.
just the tone, you know.
I think Sebastian Stan, maybe it's because he's been playing dark and broody Bucky for years. He can having to then go back to, young, unaffected, basically, who's not been through all this shit. He can't pull off super happy Bucky anymore. And now doing this, he knows what he's doing. But I thought he did really well. When he popped up in the shower, I was like, oh god, not Sebastian.
And, that's the first thought I had. I was like, Nick's gonna hate this.
Nick's gonna be fuming.
Actually, you know what? Before anything happened, because I think you kind of got a bit of a silhouette before you actually saw who it was. I thought it was gonna be Thor. Just with the long hair and all that kind of stuff. I just, for some reason, it was in my head that it was going to be Thor.
So Thor's not going to have seen any of this?
No.
Because Thor's in space still, isn't he? And he will have been attacked by Thanos. So he'll be with the Guardians. Or trying to go and get...
Well, he'll be floating, heading towards the Guardian ship at that time.
No, it wouldn't, because at the end, I mean, we're skipping to the end, but Thanos is there at the end with all the stones. So you've got to just assume that... Bar the Mind Stone. So you've got to assume that everything everything not on Earth up until the point where Thanos arrives in Wakanda. Everything there, because Tony and Strange haven't gone up to space, but everything that happens up until the Guardians landing on Titan must have happened. We
did mention, by the way, which I absolutely loved, was the fact that Thanos' minions were there at the beginning as well, with Bruce.
Yes.
Squidward.
Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian. They were there as well.
Love that.
Just got absolutely annihilated by the zombies, which again, I mean, they were pretty formidable in Infinity War. So to get taken out by
the zombie versions,
by 3 zombies, just didn't seem, particularly Ebony Maw. You'd think he could have just handled that, because he absolutely trounced Strange. He did in the first one, didn't he? He was they weren't any match for him. So it was a bit weird that they just. Although I suppose he snuck up on him, didn't he? Shot him in the back of the head. So he didn't really have... Om nom nom. He didn't make the sound om nom nom, did he? When he was eating him.
No. I would have laughed harder if they had.
I would have been good, yeah. So we've already mentioned him. So we got Jon Favreau back as Happy. Always good to see Happy. Even though he wasn't in it for very long. He was only he didn't have more than a couple of lines, apart from the blam blam blam.
Can we all do? Ow!
What was that?
when he went through his shoulder.
He took that quite well, didn't he?
He was like, ow! He's so shocked that it happened. It just made me laugh so much.
I did think when that happened, I was wondering what it was. I didn't swig on to the fact that it was Hawkeye straight away. I don't think I got onto it until the arrow... Did it hit Sharon?
No.
Didn't it pin it to the wall?
Yeah, pinned it to the wall.
So we got... That was Emily Van Camp. We got her back as well. Again, didn't we?
Yeah.
Again, the amount of cast members that we got back. And it was weird after having sort of evil Sharon that we kind of got good Sharon back, which was a bit odd. And then we got Hope, who was really good. Evangeline Lilly, we got her back for it as well. She had loads to do with it. Obviously, she was so upset.
She was kind of head in it, wasn't she? Really, it
was her and Peter. And that relationship that they had.
Yeah, I loved it.
I loved it, but I couldn't really wrap my head around it.
It was almost like mum and son.
But
not quite.
Kind of like brother and sister.
But she's defo older sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But it kind of felt like that sort of relationship. But I kept going between like mum and son.
She's totally taking him under her wing to look after him.
Yeah, but he needed it.
Yeah.
But I suppose she does. She's kind of she's like dead feisty, isn't she? Hope. And I suppose she probably reminded him to a degree of Aunt May.
Yeah.
Because this universe's Aunt May is the same sort of personality, isn't she?
Yeah.
But Hope was just hard as.
I know.
Absolutely destroying zombies.
And then I can never say her name.
Okoye, the Niagara.
That she was in it.
She was brilliant. It's, again, particularly with it being a zombie episode.
Yeah.
And her being Michonne from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't get a reference.
Yeah.
We needed some sort of Walking Dead reference.
I would have loved it to have just like walked past and there was a machete like on the wall, there's like a display thing, and she just goes, no. Or something.
To be fair,
do you know what I mean? Something daft like that.
Yeah, she cut Sam in half.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, but not. I just expected some sort of reference of like Atlanta or just some sort of reference to The Walking Dead or something like that, but we didn't get it, unfortunately.
I've also got to say, because we also got Chadwick Boseman back again, didn't we?
We did. Do you know what? Yeah, I forgot, yeah.
And he had a line in there, something about death, and it actually like...
It was that line at the end, yeah. He said...
It took me by surprise a little bit.
It did me as well. I mean,
I'm welling up just thinking about it now.
It hit hard when he was T'Challa Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And I think he had a couple of lines in that were like a bit gut-wrenching. In this, then, he said... At the very, I think it was the last. Not the last line, if not the last line, one of the last lines in the episode, apart from the Watcher. He said, "In my culture, death is not the end.
That's it.
They are still with us as long as we do not forget them." So poignant.
Yeah.
And do you know what?
It just properly it took my breath away a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Considering as well, you've got to think, and I don't know who else at Marvel would have known when it was written, but he'd have known at that point that. He's probably not going to. He probably wasn't going to be with us at this point. So you got to wonder like how much that had to do with those lines going in to the episode. But it was that was tough.
Or even just the delivery of it, because if you listen to him,
it's
so
almost
heartfelt. Like he's at peace with it as well.
Yeah,
and I don't know whether that's an actual truth of his. In that, by this point he would have been like, "It's happening. I know it's happening. We can't fight it." I've kind of got to grips with it. Yeah. Because some people do.
And probably not knowing, but probably suspecting that when we all heard this, he wasn't going to be here.
Yeah.
It's hard. That was tough. That. Just literally thinking about it is just...
I know.
What an absolute legend. Well, fortunately, we've still got 2 more Chadwick Boseman performances in this. So he's done 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So we don't know where they're going to crop up. I would imagine we're going to get a tie-in at some point. We think, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, at least we're gonna get a little bit more of him. I don't know if I can cope with any more.
No,
because the last one was tough. This one was tougher.
I
dread to think. I mean, it's weird. I'm looking forward to it. I hope we get more moments like that from him. But if they just keep progressively getting worse and worse, i.e. better and better, it's going to be tough to watch. But it added, I mean, there were a few moments in this where it had, because it was, tone wise, it had the horror. It pushed quite close to the line with it, I think. There was no like blood, because
but it was scary.
It was,
I'm not to me, but like I know, for example, if Jake had sat down and watched it,
he did
that not freak them out?
Sound like a really bad dad. No, they were all right with it, because I think it was a cartoon. Yeah, I think if it had been, obviously, even if it had been exactly the same now, but live action,
my 36-year-old sister would not have watched that.
No,
that would have freaked her out too much.
Kids,
she wouldn't have watched
kids
it.
nowadays, they are so desensitized to all this sort of stuff.
Back in my day,
exactly. I'd have been if I was watching this when I was a kid. I wouldn't have been. I can remember watching the first episode of Walking Dead when I was like 30 and being like, no, turn it off. I've watched it all since, but that first time it came on, I was like, nah, I can't watch this. And it took me like a year to go back and watch episode 2.
Really?
And so, but yeah, it's just, either I'm a really terrible father or kids are just desensitized now. But
we've also not mentioned, by the way, Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany.
Vision coming back.
Bad vision. Bad vision, very.
He definitely did not have 2020 when he was looking at this situation.
No, not at all. That was. I mean, let's talk about that then. I mean, there were loads of good scenes through there, and we've already talked about the opening, but that whole scene where it was in Jersey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, firstly, Hope dying, Hope sacrificing herself.
Right. Can I just say as well, when I realised what she was doing,
What, going giant and carrying them?
Yeah. So first of all, when she said about don't go through them, go over them.
Yeah.
I was thinking Spider-Man. But then I remembered that it was open air, so I was like, well, how is he going to go over them? And then I realised what she meant was that she was going to go bigger and carry them. Why did she shrink herself before she collapsed? The silly woman.
I did think that.
I was like,
well, to be fair,
that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter, would it? Because all these Avengers know how to use all the kit.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
So I'm surprised. So, but why didn't she just shrink herself and go around and eat more?
I was going to say, when she shrunk and was shooting through them all at the train station, I was like, loving this.
Oh, it was really good. Yeah. And when she blew up Sharon, she's like, guys, I'm covered in Sharon.
It was Sharon's face just before it happened.
Yeah. She was just about to attack and then it just dropped.
Yeah.
But do you know what? That moment, I mean, as you said, like scary all the way through. And we'll talk about Wanda in a sec. But when Cap, I mean, we knew Cap was coming on that train because we'd seen the clip and we'd seen it in the trailer, and you knew it was coming. Yeah. But it was still tense.
Yeah.
When Cap popped up and obviously just had Sharon, and then that fight, with Bucky was great. And that line at the end, this is the end of the line. It's the end of the line for you, because Cap always says, "I'm with you to the end of the line." To Bucky. So I thought that was a bit harsh.
Also, it was on a train.
Yeah, I know.
Which goes to the end of the line.
Exactly. It fit really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Hope's death, that was tough as well. As I said, Evangeline Lilly played it really well. So Vision then, so bad psychopath, and he knew what he was doing.
Right.
He was unhappy with the fact that he was doing this himself, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he knew that he couldn't fight the feelings that he had for Wanda to top her. But
to top her.
First of all, the fact that he'd saved Scott and he's just a head in a jar. Futurama vibes straight off.
I thought that.
Yeah.
I was expecting a Richard Nixon head. Yeah.
And then the fact that the cape attached itself.
Oh, that was so good.
I was like,
and did you hear him when he flew out?
Yeah.
Wingardium Leviosa.
I was done.
He was so good.
I was like,
he's like, God. She's a man-eater. Yeah. He was so good at this.
Didn't he actually say something like, I just can't stop telling awful dad jokes or something like
he's
that?
Like, it's my coping mechanism. I've lost weight, thanks for noticing.
It's just so funny.
He was good. But when the cape attached to him, I thought that was really good. Because he's pretty much got a body now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. We talked about Cap being scary. Wanda. Again, I think we'd got on to the fact that we were going to see really powerful witch Wanda, but she was like proper scary.
Yeah.
She was just, because it's like nothing, what's going to stop her?
Yeah.
She was, I mean, we've talked for months now about how powerful Wanda is, and it all comes down to like the rage.
Yeah.
And she's probably and we know now from WandaVision that it's basically just her being able to sort of like let go and let loose that is what gives her the power.
Yeah.
And this is just zombie Wanda, doesn't care at all. And she's not unstoppable, because clearly, Hulk has a good go, which we'll talk about. But yeah, she wiped out so many of them. She got Kurt in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Which
was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Him going Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga.
As soon as he said that, I was like, no way.
You're dead. She's going to have you. And then Okoye.
Yeah.
She kills Okoye. And the fact that Vision has been keeping T'Challa in the fridge and chopping off bits and feeding them to Wanda.
But even, like as you said about Okoye as well, the fact that her last words were Wakanda forever. I was like...
Had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it was so good. And then... So this is the bit that got me. So when Bruce, obviously because he ends up sacrificing himself, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Or does he sacrifice himself? That's the thing. Because Wanda full on bites Bruce's arm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't penetrate the skin. Because Hulk, I assume, is just like impenetrable. That's the word, isn't it? It's a word. It's a bit late. Yeah. I'm dead impressed with myself that we got impenetrable out. So when he then runs into the crowd of zombies and obviously finally becomes Hulk again, which obviously we never saw in Infinity War.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that because he was proper fighting Wanda. Wanda was struggling to fight him.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that they could actually turn Hulk.
No.
At all.
Not if you say Hulk, no.
So if super powerful Wanda zombie couldn't bite him, then surely none of the other zombies are going to be able to do it. So I assume Hulk would survive it.
Yeah.
But then I thought, if Hulk is completely impenetrable and can't be bitten, how the hell did Thanos get turned? Because Thanos wiped the floor with Hulk. I feel like it was a bit like the same with the the fact that the Avengers can all use the kit. Inconsistent.
But do you know what though? To be fair, when I saw Thanos, undead, I was like, oh!
As soon as I saw him, I just thought, that's it. They're going to shut it down here. That's going to be 100% be the end of the episode. Like, we're not seeing anything else.
Yeah, I was like, that is amazing though. Even whether it's believable or not, I was just like, amazing. Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, and again, it's where is it going to go? Are we going to get more of this story? Are we going to get, or are we just going to be completely left? With it? Because I think the Watcher says, doesn't he, that it can end up with an end of a universe. Yeah. So it's going to get completely wiped out. So talking about the Watcher, then we don't really see that much of him. No, this episode. Not this time. Considering
the very beginning and the very end, pretty much, innit?
Yeah, how involved he's been every episode so far. Because this is episode 5, isn't it?
This is the only thing I can think is he's been reasoning with people that are causing the issues. Whereas in this one, it's zombies that can't be reasoned with. So he can't do anything about it. He has just got to sit back and watch that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know whether it's because of the actual event.
And potentially with the other ones, he could... I mean, because we see it sort of like play out in real time to a degree. Yeah. And the past 2 times when it looks like he might have got involved, particularly with the Strange episode, he could have stepped in at that point in the episode and fix it. Yeah. Whereas in this, it's already done. Yeah. Unless he wipes out every zombie, it's done basically, isn't it? Yeah. But he did, even though he didn't seem as involved, he wasn't getting as involved with the characters in this one. Yeah. He seemed closer in that every time we've seen him, even when he was talking to Strange, he was pretty much just the shadow. Yeah. You know, the black outline with the glowing eyes. Where in this one he wasn't. No. It was full on, like you could see it was him. And maybe that is a clue that even though he's not talking to anybody in this episode, he's maybe there rather than sort of like hiding behind the veil from another universe. He's actually sort of like in this one, like physically watching it. I still don't know where this is going. No. I'm still not convinced either way whether it's going to be an anthology series or whether we are going to get this link. And it's only now the fact that we've seen clips in the trailers of characters meeting, or we think meeting. So we've seen like the Avengers hero pose of all these characters together. Yeah. But then at the same time, I've also seen them all driving a Hyundai, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to be in it. So I don't know whether that's just marketing to make it look like that. Maybe we find
out that the Nick Fury that lost all of the Avengers in the murder one goes round to get the other versions of them.
Maybe, but the thing, if you think back about that trailer though, where it shows you that shot of the team, it flashes from a what if cartoon version of our team. Do you get what I mean? So it shows the camera going around them, and then it's like you get the glitch, and it cuts to this new potential team. Yeah, and I'll be surprised if we get that happen in the episode, if we get it at all. So it has got me wondering whether that is just purely for marketing purposes and we won't get it. Because even
it's a very Marvel move if it is.
Yeah. Exactly, like with Hulk and Infinity War. Yeah. And I think with the shot where we think we get Doctor Strange Supreme talking to Peggy Carter, we don't see them. I don't think we see them on screen together. I think it just looks as if they're talking to each other. Yeah. So that could be completely fabricated as well, and that might not be real. So I am now starting to wonder whether we're actually going to get a wrap up at all. And I think if we do get a wrap up, it's going to be at the very, very end. Yeah. I could see it being like at the very end of the last episode. Yeah. So if it is Ultron or Ultimate
just enough
Ultron,
to make you go and then that'll be it, and then that teases it for the second season.
Maybe, yeah, but I think if we do, I think that's probably the way they'll go. Just maybe like a tease at the very end, like something happens and the Watcher says, "Do you know what? I've got to, not in these words, but I need to step in now," and then that'll be it. Or I need somebody to help me step in, which is why we'll get to Ministry of Mayhem, Multiverse of Madness. Or I thought maybe we'll just get the Watcher. Maybe even only a couple of minutes longer, and we might see him go into all these different universes and fixing it.
I would love to see I can't remember the actor's name now, the one who's doing the voice of the Watcher,
Jeffrey Wright. Yeah
love to see him appear and just say, "Now it's my turn," and then that's how it ends.
What, like live action?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so that it kind of teases that he could be going into the live action versions. You know, just something along those lines of I'm getting involved.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. But again, we saw the Watcher in it. I think we said, didn't we, in the Guardians, and he was like, it doesn't look like Jeffrey Wright. But I don't know. Maybe he can just change the way. Maybe he can change the way it looks.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good episode, though. I'd say it's probably. Yeah. I don't know if I'd say it was the best episode.
I don't think it was the best. T'Challa as Star-Lord is still my favourite.
I agree. Looking back on them, I think that's probably still the best one. Yeah. But then I'd probably say this is a close second. And I don't think it's necessarily got the story that the Strange episode had, because that was a powerful episode.
No, but it was just an enjoyable watch.
This was just fun, and this is. I think this and the T'Challa episode. I think the reasons that I enjoyed them so much were because they were both their own stories. And I know this one was very, very hinged around Infinity War.
Yeah.
But it went off on a complete tangent onto its own story.
Yeah.
And I feel like this one and the T'Challa one didn't need tying up and linking to the multiverse.
No.
They were just their own stories, and they were like the perfect anthology episodes, whereas I feel like the other 3 episodes kind of, you needed to see how that then got back to our timeline, whereas these are just gone now. These are just on their own, completely separate stories, and I think that's why I probably enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them more. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Should we see what the listeners thought?
Let's do it.
Pod fans assemble.
Okay, so we did another poll just for you to let us know how you're feeling about it. 80% said they loved it, 16% said it was okay, and we still had 4% saying still hated it.
Gobsmacked that 4% of people still hated that. I get that it was okay, but I don't get how you'd hate it.
No.
Don't get it at all.
We've got Bill Dunn Jr. who said, it was if the B-17 segment of Heavy Metal had a baby with George Romero. I have been catching them at night after a few tough days and they hit the spot.
Do you know what? I'd never seen this Heavy Metal, and I went and Googled it or YouTubed it, and it does have like proper like what if vibes. Yeah, it looks quite good. I've only watched that B-17 clip, but it looks it's got what if vibes to it, and it also reminds me massively of the. People might be upset with this. The Transformers movie, like the 1980s Transformers movie, it's got real vibes like that. But it does look. It is like spot on. It's like you've just taken that, modernised it a little bit, and then chucked a load of zombies into it. So yeah, excellent point.
Fair play. We Need Roads podcast said hands down my favourite so far. Fair enough.
Fair play.
Overreactive Pop Culture said this was probably the weakest thing I've seen from the MCU in a while, maybe ever. I was thinking, if the zombie Avengers can still use their gear, why couldn't other people fly airplanes and use tanks, guns, etc.? Plus the comedic lines were obnoxious. Yeah, I agree 100% with the gear stuff, because that's the first thing.
But I didn't even think about like planes and guns and stuff like that. Why is every other zombie? I mean, like we said, you know, why aren't they doing a little bit more? But why aren't they using like proper weapons and stuff? It's a bit bonkers, isn't it?
But I did love the comedic lines.
I liked them.
I know that it was dad jokes and it was a bit obnoxious at times, but that's Scott's humour, and the fact that he's just ahead by this point. He can't lose much more, can he?
No.
So
I liked it when, because we missed this, when Peter says to Okoye, have you not got horror films in Wakanda? And she says, no, we've got loads of American reality TV. Yeah. And then Kurt goes, boom goes the dynamite. It's so good.
That was funny. Metalcore Nerd said, my favourite of the series so far. So many surprises and really well thought out heavy moments and callbacks. I want a whole series of what if zombies.
Yeah, I kind of want more of this.
Yeah.
I feel like zombie movies and TV series like to end on like these sad notes and like everybody's died sort of notes. Yeah. But I want more of this one. I could quite happily now just have like a continuation of the MCU through this and never link up, but just like see where this goes, because we've got to still have Hulk, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. We then had Women Have the Right to Choose, said loved it. Nice and simple.
Loved it. Sound. I love the fact that how different these are, as always. This is proper like dividing people in this series.
Peacemaker then said this was perfect. I love this so much, and not just for the sentimental value this story has to me. It felt like The Walking Dead met Marvel in the best way possible. I loved every character, and it makes me want to watch all those movies again. I even liked MCU Spider-Man for a change. I forgot who Kirk was until about halfway through. My only tiny problem was that this should have been a movie or a show. I have way too many things to say about this episode for one reply. My only question is, what do you think happened to the Guardians?
Yeah, like we said. So they must have all just followed the same story up until they landed on Titan. Except they'd have landed on Titan without... Hang on, right. I know I was just going with the story then, but how did Thanos get the time stone?
We can't have.
He had every stone apart from the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
So where did he get the time stone from?
No idea.
Because he got the time stone on Titan from Strange.
Yeah.
Who obviously
didn't make it to Titan.
Didn't make it to Titan. No, because I'm trying to think of it. No, he didn't. So the Guardians must have landed on Titan without Iron Man and Spider-Man and Strange. Yeah. And considering on that planet, Strange was the one who pretty much
saved.
He was the one who sort of went up against them.
Dead.
They'd all be dead.
Yeah.
Thor would still have Stormbreaker. Yeah. So is Thor going to rock up? Well, Thor would just roll up with Rocket and Groot to Wakanda, to a ton of zombies. Oh, we need a continuation of this. we need Peter and Scott's head and the cape and T'Challa rocking up, and then Thor shows up.
Yeah.
To fight zombie Thanos. Yeah, so Guardians are dead. That's what I'm thinking.
Do you know what would be even cooler if they brought Peter Dinklage's character?
Yes. Eitri the Dwarf.
Yeah. Be amazing. So then Eric had said it was okay, I guess, lol.
Straight to the point.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
Fair enough. One of the 16%. And Sam Adams said the ending pissed me off. I want more, damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we need more of this story.
Understandable. And then we've actually got a theory from Keeper of the Sacred Flame.
Okay, go on.
So he said, based on your guys' Watcher theory, the Watcher won't interfere until the final episode, and that final episode will link in at the end of Multiverse of Madness and then go on to link to the big bad of the next Avengers.
Ooh, I like the fact that it's potentially bringing in the next big bad of the Avengers.
Yeah.
But if it's all multiverse link, would it not just be Kang?
I don't know.
Or maybe this ultimate Kang.
Mephisto.
Mephisto. This is the first episode where I can't pull Mephisto into it.
No, I know.
At all. Can't get him into it at all. No, I like that though. I like the fact that it all links to that. I think we're just going to be...
Well, we say we couldn't link it. Mephisto and his army of the dead.
Maybe Kurt is Mephisto. And he's not really dead. I'm just...
Boom goes the dynamite.
I'm just trying to think of random ones now.
Alan Hangover said, I thought it was an awesome episode. Have to say, loved Ant-Man head in a jar. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Luis Dumbali said, the big question is, did Bucky survive? He wasn't eaten or anything, just got thrown out by Zombie Wanda.
Yeah. I feel like he's sort of tactically enough.
I'd be going out with me one arm first because it's metal.
Yeah.
I'd be like this, punching everyone.
He's got a shield and his metal arm.
Yeah.
He could have well survived that.
Yeah.
Because he's like so well trained.
Yeah.
I reckon he could have done that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get these questions answered, particularly if it's an anthology series. And the thing that's making me think anthology, and I keep coming back to it, is the fact that we know we're getting a What If season 2. It is happening. And I think what will probably happen is some of the bigger episodes, or the ones that people really loved out of this series, will be the ones that maybe get like a second episode or a follow-up, and then we'll throw a load of new stories in there as well. So if something's going to get a follow-up, it's got to be this, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not going to get a T'Challa Star-Lord follow-up because Chadwick's not here anymore. But this would be the one. This would be the one I think that would get Marvel. What If Zombies 2? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we'll find out what happened to Bucky, and I think we'll find out that
just
Bucky's
call
not
it
dead.
What If More Zombies?
What if more zombies? I think we'll get. I think we'll find out that Bucky's alive and Hulk's alive. Yeah. And then we'll end up with Thor with Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Come on, that's gonna happen.
Full Moon YT said, I really like the Zombies Road Trip Avengers style.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love the fact that they were on a train. I love anything to do with a train. It always makes it more fun. Spider-Man's train storyline. I loved it.
Trains, dragons, dinosaurs. We're learning that in the year.
You're on for a winner.
Exactly, yeah.
I feel like a right tip.
I'm trying to think of a film now that's got dragons, dinosaurs and trains.
Have you seen, is it called Non-Stop with Liam Neeson about a runaway train? Loved it.
Is there a dragon in it?
No, there's no dragon.
I'm gutted.
But it just had the train, but I loved it. Kenneth, not a fan of this week's episode in general. The Quantum Realm Origins it was fun to see Banner take centre stage, and I still don't like Sharon Carter. Okay, fair enough.
No, she sold me a little bit more on this one because I feel like we never really got to see that Sharon Carter, the nice Sharon Carter. And yeah, I get what you're saying about the quantum virus, but as we said at the start, I think it lent to the fact that it was a 28-minute story. And considering how much pacing issues the first couple of episodes had, I think they couldn't afford to throw in another whole like 5-minute story about how it happened. I think they did just need a simple, it came from here, run with it, it's done.
Maury said, Thanos, what? This episode was great. I enjoyed the fact that they just brushed off the Avengers' deaths and that they chopped Cap in half. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, poor Cap.
But again, it would never happen in a million years in the mainstream films and stuff, so I love that they can do that.
Because we've got animation.
Yeah. Sparky Malarkey said, I thought it was very good. It'll be nigh impossible to top the Doctor Strange episode, but this one held its own as a solid instalment.
Again, I think this was... I still go that T'Challa was the best and then this one, but I completely understand why people love the Doctor Strange one. It was a cracking 100%. Episode.
Jared said, this episode had amazing action and good characterization. Could have used a little less jokes and more runtime, but it was really solid. Really hoping they revisit this timeline maybe as a spin-off.
Yeah, definitely.
Agree. Stoney said, it was amazing until the ending. Like, don't get me wrong, it was good, but after everything that happened, the ending just didn't sit well.
I feel like they've all gone down. I mean, I get it because you want more, but... And I suppose you felt like they'd won and they were going to be all right, and then it dropped zombie Thanos on you. But I feel as I said, I think like that's what zombie movies do. Yeah. You don't see many zombie movies where it ends on a happy note. Yeah.
So Teddy Osmantit said, I loved the episode. I kept a straight face, that was you.
I loved it.
It was really funny though, fair play. I loved the episode. Also, Zombie Wanda entrance was my favourite part. It was brilliant, to be fair. Just the red and stuff like that.
When you saw her down the end of the hall and she was all like, like decrepit and like hunched over and stuff like that with just the red energy glowing from her. It was good.
Creative Control said, another great episode. The way they introduced the virus and the timeline selected was... and then a chef's kiss.
Yeah.
The cast of characters chosen to lead the episode was fresh with some very cool surprises. 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's very clever that they don't try and wrap up each episode, leaving you wanting more. Yeah, fully.
Yeah. It keeps us guessing as to where it's all going, doesn't it? That's the thing.
Kids, What Are We Watching Tonight said, a much better story than episode 3 and 4. Great fun having a zombie apocalypse in the MCU. Good to see a bit of gore too. I'm covered in Sharon was funny. And they've actually listed the episodes in order of what the favourite is.
Oh, okay, go on.
So episode 1 is still the favourite.
Okay.
Then 5.
Which is this one?
Then 2, which I can't remember off the top of my head. T'Challa, oh yeah. And then 3 and then 4.
Okay, fair play. Fair play if you like the Captain Carter one. I think it was the weakest one.
Yeah, I do.
I love the fact that how different everyone's opinions are on this one.
Well, he said still want an Agent Carter film slightly more.
Yeah.
Nathan then said, this was a great episode. Loved the episode arc, and it was totally feasible for the virus to come from the quantum realm. Had all the touch points of a zombie movie and enjoyed the references to Zombieland. I'm starting to feel like there isn't going to be one overarching story to connect the episodes all together, but I'm happy with that.
Again, considering the first week or first 2 weeks, we were like, we need this story. I'm getting more okay with the fact that there might not be one.
Yeah.
I think more people are as well.
Yeah.
They're enjoying it for what it is now.
Yeah.
Rather than looking for the clues. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Cornelia Christina said, hearing Chadwick Boseman again broke my heart.
Oh, yeah.
100% agree.
Rough.
Paul Michael said, without giving away spoilers, going to throw a hypothetical at you.
It's alright, you can spoil it. We've done a spoiler warning.
If Thanos had the gauntlet and snapped half of all life, would that mean all zombies would remain and any survivors would be halved? Kevin Phase rhymes with beige, care to discuss?
Oh, well, we haven't got Kevin on the podcast. It'd be lovely if we did. Kevin, he's coming next week. He's not.
Yeah, he's not.
It's a good point. I suppose it depends whether they're dead.
Yeah.
Because all zombies are like different, aren't they? So are they dead or have they just got this virus?
Yeah.
And I suppose it depends. I was going to say like he's a zombie Thanos, so he wouldn't have the sense to sort of be that precise with it, but apparently he can operate an Infinity Gauntlet.
Clearly.
Exactly.
Stephanie Tittle said, She just put a gif actually of Chris Evans. I don't like it. And then okay, and then she put another gif and just says I love it, and it's Amy Poehler
from Parks and Rec.
From Parks and Rec. Yeah.
So, I really enjoyed this one.
I did. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And then we've got a comment from Geeky Nate as well. Man, this week's episode just wants me to get live action Marvel zombies in Strange 2.
Yeah.
I love how the Watcher is even more visible again. So my theory is the Watcher will intervene at the end of the series and bring this team together. Also, let's see what if scenario for this week. What if Hydra won in Captain America and the Winter Soldier?
They kind of did.
I feel like they kind of did.
Because
S.H.I.E.L.D. disbanded, essentially.
Yeah,
which means the Hydra won.
Because there was no Cap.
No.
Because he was on ice.
Yeah.
And they were basically running S.H.I.E.L.D., weren't they? I feel like if they just flat out won, it would have probably meant that Red Skull would still be there.
Yeah.
And he'd have the Tesseract. That's the only way he could have won this.
Yeah.
So Red Skull with the Tesseract would probably have just led to something bigger coming.
And taking the Tesseract from him.
Yeah, so like in the Captain Carter episode where Hugh McGrath, as we were saying, rolled up, I reckon you'd probably just find that it'd be like end of the world sort of thing. And it would have just been, we'd have been wiped out. It'd have all been Marvel zombies by by this point. Something would have wiped it out. But yeah, Goose the cat. what you were doing then? That just got me.
Goose kills Red Skull.
Kills Red Skull.
I'm all about that.
Yeah, I feel like the whole, it wouldn't have just been like slightly different. I feel like the whole world would have just been wiped out.
Can we just very quickly, what happened to Goose?
In what? In Captain
Marvel, because the last time we see Goose is he throws up the Tesseract again, and then that's it.
Maybe we'll see him in the Marvels
again.
Yeah, but we've only seen Captain Marvel. I've never seen it. No, spoilers.
I know, but the relationship essentially was between Nick and Goose.
Yeah, because he was his cat. He kind of became. I didn't think of that. I was thinking like he'll show up in the Marvels, but good point. Excellent point.
You're welcome.
Well, they'd already sold all the Goose toys. They're on to the Morris toys now.
Clearly.
That's it. It's Disney at the end of the day. It's Disney. We need to sell some toys. Is that us?
Performance Morris.
Exactly. Is that us?
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Right. Thanks very much, listeners. Should we do the wrap up?
Let's do it.
Just before we do the wrap up, should we just check where Venom is? Oh, it's been moved again. No,
2024.
Yeah. No, it hasn't. It wouldn't surprise you though, would it? Right, so thanks for listening to the show. Don't forget to come back next week for our review of What If Episode 5. No idea what it's going to be. We've been saying Thor for 3 weeks. Maybe it will be. Maybe it's finally going to be the Party Thor episode. Probably not though.
Maybe if we don't say it, it'll happen.
I've said it now.
Oh.
I can edit it out.
Candyman.
You can find all our episodes at thatsuperherothing.com along with all of our social media links. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. On the website, you can also sign up for our email newsletter where you'll receive new episode alerts and news on upcoming shows. You can contact us on any of our socials and submit thoughts and theories for next week's Podfans Assemble. If you've enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing. It really does help us get seen by more people if you leave positive reviews on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Yep. And then patron shout-outs. We've got some more patrons this week. So patron shout-outs for this week, we've got Geeky Nate, we've got Kenneth, we've got Keeper of the Sacred Flame, and we've got Stephanie. Thank you all so much for getting involved, signing up for the Patreon, and supporting the show. It honestly means the world to us.
Really does.
If you want to join those guys and support the show as well, you can do it at thatsuperherothing.com/Patreon and sign up for one of the tiers. We've got loads of extra episodes on there. And also what you can do is you can jump in and listen to the episode live.
Yeah.
Just listen to the mess we make of it before we edit it out. Also like to just say thanks to our friends over at the Myths Behind the Legends podcast for putting together our intro music and our outro music. Great podcast where they discuss the whole horror genre. So horror, movies, books and TV series. Horror. I couldn't remember what it was then. Fantastic podcast. Go check them out. Other than that though, I think that's everything. So another week done. Halfway through What If. Yeah. More than halfway through What If. 4 more episodes.
4 left.
Got to get a wrap up at some point here. Or I'm going for, if it's not done next episode, if we don't get a link, it's anthology. I'm not going to get a link. But we will see. Other than that though, thanks very much for listening guys. See you next week.
Cheers guys, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.